Okay, well, after that, a little thinking about aeroplanes, I decided to actually look at some aeroplanes. Some of these boxes, well, and another motorbike, some of these boxes are so huge. So I'm just going to show you briefly and then try and get it out of the way. This very nice one, which I got from a guy at the club, which I haven't even looked through yet, and I won't open this right in your face because that's going to block your view. But this you know, for a long time I've had a soft spot for the Concorde, and I have mentioned them in videos before. I previously had the large FX 172 for a brief bit before I sold it, thinking it was a bit too big, but I've got to build one of these big ones. Hang it from the ceiling. This is so big. Another huge one is this one. And for a long time I've put off adding a Harley to the collection because the 1/6 scale, the 1/12 scale Tamiya kits don't have a Harley. And this, as with all of the 1/6 scale kits, is just really good. So that's all metal. The frame and swing arm, all metal pieces, and a very nice kit. This is one of the later releases. I think this was 1996. It says so on the instructions there. Now this one I'm going to leave for next year, doing a build off in a couple of months around April, May. So I will do a sort of a fast build on this, and the reason I say fast build, it's about the only way I'll get to complete a 1/6 scale in time. Not focus too much on any details, do a nice spray job, make it look nice, and that'll be a Harley in the collection. And again, with the size of that, I have no idea where it's going to go. Now this one, which is 100th, and it's a brand that I don't know. I'll show you the label. Oh, is this? That's stuck on. Okay, let's see if I can show you that label. When I did a quick look, it didn't look too bad. I mean, I don't know much about this, but that's sort of much bigger than 172, but not as than 144th, but not as bad as 172. Inevitably it will only have ceiling space, but that's a much faster build, so I might actually do that one before the big one. And the A380, which we've been talking about, and then I managed to find this separate one. This is the Animals livery. This is all the dust that's making me cough now. Which I want to do a fast build on as well. So we may yet actually have an A380 this year as one of the last builds of my year. We'll see how that turns out. Undercarriage up, yeah, can do undercarriage up. You know, leave off a lot of the unnecessary stuff since it's going to hang on my ceiling. We could put it here. Although I was going to hang something right here, but it's just so in the way for all of my movement over here. But I'd really like to get to that. I said around 30 builds completed this year, and by completed I mean not started and completed. No way I would ever start and finish that number of builds. I barely make 10 started and finished in a year, but as you know, I jump around so much between subjects. So we can just look at the completed number, and that is sort of heading towards my goal. I think by half year I am more or less heading towards 15 completed, considering that 10 of them will be the bikes. And we already did about 5 planes early on, some of which are very close, the Winnie May and the Spirit of St. Louis. This one is definitely, this one got a bit of a sort of a fix up and a clean up earlier on, and we've got the engines to build and all of the struts and so on. The canopy hasn't turned up yet. But that, remember also these decals were absolutely terrible, and I only managed to get on those 2 and the 2 tiny little ones by the cockpit. So this is missing some of its decals, but we can only do what we can do. I'll do a little bit of weathering on it and build the engine. So that one I'd like to get done this year as well. The Dornier X. Now the Ventura, which you know I have talked about and still never built one. I really do like the look of the quality of this kit. I haven't built one yet, so I can't say this Academy. And then what is the difference between, that's a Ventura gunship, window differences, and possibly some minor differences. So got that one as well. But what I got recently is this Lodestar Special Hobby. I don't know that I have anything by Special Hobby. And they're not one of the manufacturers that I commonly look at all. Maybe I've got one somewhere. So I'm not very familiar with this, and what I wanted to do was, where did I put that one now? What I wanted to do was just compare the fuselages, fuselage size. Let's get that out the way. The Ventura and the Lodestar. So we have all of the window differences, the Lodestar being the top one. Now I'd heard previously that the Lodestar was slightly longer, but is it? Is it in these models? Well, it's not longer. It's not longer on these measures. So in fact, a little bit of difference there at the cockpit, and I'm not going to say which one is more accurate at this stage, since I have no idea, but I'd like to think Academy is actually more accurate. So there's a little bit of difference actually. If I hold the top surface, do you see that bottom surface difference there? So if I align the top surfaces, the Academy looks a little bit fatter. So I'd have to do a bit of research to find out, unless you guys know which one is the more accurate. Surface quality, and I mean, I'm sure there's nice reviews on this, but I thought I would get the Lodestar. So far the difference would be a lot of windows, a little bit more interior, well, quite a bit more interior, which to be honest is not something I'd be bothered about on a build like this. It's not something I'm going to be putting a lot of attention into the interior of a Lodestar. But anyway, I got that I'll have to look at a review on that compared to the Ventura, but since I have more Venturas, I'll build a Ventura first. And this is actually not, this is not a very difficult model at all. You know, since I've been looking at the motorbikes and there's just so many little parts, this actually looks pleasantly quick to build, which can be misleading. Not much warp, so actually I could achieve a Ventura this year as well. Really, the number of extra parts is minimal. Nice surface detail. I do like Academy, I have to say. There doesn't look to be any warp on the wings there. That's pretty good. Oh, this had the clear nose section, which saves you an awful amount of problem with putting in windows, but it changes that problem into masking. And you do have the connecting pin marks, pins that you see there on the top and bottom. They of course do I don't think you'd be able to see them through any of the windows. The one bottom one almost, but it seems as if you'll get away with that. So you know, that makes it very easy to build the nose, just quite a hassle to mask it. But I mean, they are rectangular windows, so that actually shouldn't be the worst. But do I actually cut that off? Do I cut off that nose? I guess I would have to, because otherwise you're just not going to get that version. I could save myself a lot of hassle by just building it. So what would be the difference to this one then if you just built that straight up? I guess that's an identical fuselage that they supplied, so you'd probably just be at the same model again. So yes, I would have to cut off, which means this would be the quicker and easier build. The Strike Master, which Dragonfly, not Strike Master. This Dragonfly, which I'd got. Now, was this the one that was missing canopy? No, the canopy is there. So I think this one was then complete. Another very, very nice looking aircraft, and in 1/48, not a bad size and not bad detail actually. I do like this Dragonfly. The decal set provided is you know, it's a somewhat minimal scheme, but that's okay. So what year was this made? 1992, so it's not, you know, it's not as old as some of the 80s monogram. Had they improved on detail at all in 10 to 15 years? I'm not sure. This one has also got sink marks underneath the pin connections. You get those slight sink marks, which is very disappointing because filling those sink marks inevitably causes more damage on your surface. So on a model like this, especially, you know, I mean, you're building it nicely, but I would just leave those sink marks. It's the lesser of the evils, I think. I mean, of course you can get it. This one overlaps a little circular. You see that in the light there, that circular panel. So, you know, filling right over that circular panel and then trying to get it back, I would say the lesser of all the evils is just save yourself all the hassle and you just build it as is and you have minor sink marks there. We have got the Nationals coming up next year, the New Zealand Nationals in Christchurch, so I can actually do quite a special from there. I will be entering a few things, but I'm generally not a competition level modeler because I tend to rush through my kits rather than focus a lot of attention and detail into any one. I mean, here and there I do, obviously, but with my sort of thinking lately, you know, that I really need to get through a lot of models, and I want to get through a lot of models. I want to get through them more than I need them to be perfect. Means that my building style is around the 7 out of 10 level at the moment, which sure you can put it on the table at competitions just for the interest, but it's nice to have something where you actually think you've done a 10 out of 10, even if the judges then still only give you an 8 out of 10. But a lot of the models that I'm talking about here, I'm not even attempting to get to that level. But it'll be nice to see all of the good stuff, because there's really, really good modelers in the whole of New Zealand, certainly, and in Christchurch, definitely in our club. Yes, so the big problem with this was those wings that have all of the problem, and and then this one which didn't have the awful fuselage warp. So if you remember on the other one, I had to try and bend it. So so this would be good to just achieve a nice build. Oh, so somebody has built, oh, okay. Somebody has built yeah, they've taken the parts off for 2 of the engines, which means that and that's not very good in there. That's a bit of a mess actually. It's not even in straight. Bit of a glue mess there. It's not the worst. that one's finished off much better, but they haven't sprayed in there, so that I don't know how I would correct these engines. They haven't done anything in the back there. So I would have to use the engines off my other kit and actually really just build one single kit and not have 2 A380s, which then does leave me with a lot of bits to actually, for instance, build only an A380 fuselage. So keep the good fuselage for the complete model and then build the second fuselage only. That saves a lot on space. Put the decals on and put that up against the wall. Up against the wall. Okay, so let's say that I really only have 1 point, not even 1.5, 1 and a bit A380s. So I could actually build the worst of the 2 fuselages just as a practice for the gluing. Use this nice scheme on the complete one. Well, I actually like all of the schemes, to be honest. The animals are just something slightly unique. Since I've left this open in the garage, I'm going to have to clean off that model completely. That one, it didn't come with a lid, that's why, and I didn't put something on top of it. We still have those phantoms to do, the full weapons load and undercarriage and decaling and color scheme on the 2 phantoms, which will look really, really good. Remember, the blue one is just about done. In fact, I only need to glue on the front canopy. So with the table space and me organizing things inside, and all of the phantom stuff is actually laid out there, I think it's sort of inevitable as I'm building Wheelie Yellow, start progressing a little bit on the weapons. I need to check what decals go on where. And I need to regather myself on which decals I'd set aside for these. So remember, one was a Roswell Reno style, and the other one was a colorful race style, but different decals. I need to go and actually have a look. Okay, I think that's a good bit of aeroplane chat. Something different. We haven't had that for a while. Okay, happy modeling.